Welcome to the Grow and Expand with S podcast, where we break through limitations, we heal from within, and we step into our most expansive, most fulfilled lives and businesses. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining me today as we tackle the big, hairy imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is something that I've personally struggled with significantly in life, and something that I know so many women out there struggle with on the daily. Imposter syndrome, when I think of it, refers to that feeling where we are always second guessing and doubting ourselves. We're wondering, is this going to last forever, this feeling or this success that we've just achieved? Or is this next step that I'm going to take going to be so wrong that the whole thing will come crumbling down and I will lose whatever I have worked so hard for in an instant? It's that voice in our heads that tell us we didn't deserve to get to where we are today. We shouldn't feel as good and as empowered as we do for everything that we have achieved. And it's basically the biggest bitch in business and in life that I have ever encountered. So today, while we're talking about imposter syndrome, there's a couple of key points that I want to lead with, because this is really going to give you an understanding of where imposter syndrome is birthed and also how you can learn to work with imposter syndrome and eventually, believe me, overcome it. So essentially, imposter syndrome, when you drill down to the roots of it, it is you putting an overemphasis on your lack or on your not good enough story, and an underemphasis on all of the successes, all of the worthiness, all of the steps forward, and all of the things that you have achieved. Imposter syndrome tells us we need to push more, we need to push harder, we need to look for the next thing to feel a sense of achievement. And rooted down, it's because when we are connecting in with ourselves, we are connecting in with the aspects that doubts us, that doesn't believe everything that we've achieved, so our lack. And it's the aspect of us that consistently disconnects, first and foremost, from all of the things that we achieve on the daily. So it's a disconnect. It's a disconnect from your accomplishments, and it is an overconnection with any of the things that you believe and feel that you are not good enough for. So where does this start? Well, it actually starts incredibly early on in life. So I'd like you to have a think about children, and perhaps you have some memories of when you were a child. As we are learning, as we are growing, as we are adjusting to the outside world, basically what happens is those around us tries to teach us and guide us and lead us with respect to whatever it is that they think is obviously, let's say, good for the point of this conversation. And so we are who we are, we feel how we feel, and our emotions and our beliefs and how we show up, it's spontaneous. When you're 0 to 8 years old, you're not extremely calculated thinking everything out, you just are. And every time you are, the outside world, particularly your caregivers, reflect something back at you. And now if you're a parent, a mum or a father, you'll know that when we then tend to focus on children, and when we were children, what our parents tended to focus on was the next step or the next thing. Okay, we're always trying to hit these milestones from, we breastfed. And then when can we start moving to solid foods? And then when can we start eating on our own? And when can we start potty training? And that's a normal evolution and part of life, right? All these things that we kind of growing and expanding into as we get older. But what happens is when our parents focus more on the parts of us that need to be more improved, that needs to be refined, and if their focus continues to go on where it is that we're heading, and they are overlooking in how they're communicating with us via words, via emotions, via energies and actions, if they are overlooking everything that we are doing and achieving as we are doing them and as we are achieving them, it sends a message that we are essentially always looking for the next thing, it also sends the message that whatever we're doing right now is not necessarily good enough, right? So say I walk into my daughter's room and it's 3/4 clean. If the first thing I say to her is, oh, that jacket doesn't belong there, that bin is overflowing, the only thing she hears in that moment is, well, that wasn't good enough. As opposed to my coming in and saying, wow, look at your room. You've done so much already. I really like how you decorated this. I really enjoy how you did that. Oh, I loved how you put the music on in the background and you made the process fun. I love that. And so now I just noticed these 2 extra things that absolutely needs to be cleaned up as well, right? So when you approach it in that balanced manner, we're hearing the wins, we're hearing the things that everyone's proud of, we're seeing the successes, we're connecting into them, they're feeling good. And then when we're doing the extra 1 or 2 or 3 things, we then obviously come from that space where we're already feeling good enough. And then we tackle the next thing. It happens on the daily with our children. When you're 0 to 8 years old, the focus is by and large on where we're headed and what we need to do to get there. And when we've made mistakes or we haven't quite achieved it yet, what we need to do to autocorrect, what we need to become better at. And in that, what gets lost is the moment-to-moment connection in. It starts within yourself, but when you're 0 to 8 years old, obviously it has to be mirrored from the outside first. We lose the connection in the enough piece. We lose the connection to what we have achieved, how far we have come, what we are good at, what we did do, and what we did do well. And so when you're 0 to 8 years old, what happens is whatever programming has been operating in your family system, it's semi-locked into your subconscious beliefs. And in life, you will continue on repeating the pattern, repeating the pattern, repeating the pattern until you are faced with a situation where you choose to grow and expand and evolve past it. And so imposter syndrome is birthed in that way of doing life. Okay, and so as adults, how it shows up is we consistently set these goals for ourselves. We consistently have these visions. We consistently have this sort of story in our mind of what it should look like. And in knowing that, we're consistently measuring our success by when we achieve that thing. But just like when we were children, when we achieved that thing, there was always a next thing. It's no different as an adult. And so if you approach everything that you've achieved, and that's the only time you feel that sense of connection into exactly how far you have come, how proud you are of yourself, and those feel good and enough sort of messaging that then obviously translates into emotions, then that's going to be short-lived, right? And what are you going to do? Those are good feelings. It's a nice way to be. It's a nice way to feel. So what are you going to do? Well, you're going to set the next goal and you're going to set the next milestone. And you're then going to wait again until you reach that one before you give yourself that permission to once again feel that good. Okay? And the thing to remember is it is not the goal and the achieving of the goal or the achieving of the vision that speaks to success or not. It is not the achieving of the goal or achieving of the vision that speaks to good enough or not. It is the smallest part of the journey, and whether there really is an end point, is up for discussion in probably a different podcast. But what is so much more important is that as we walk the path, as we step through the journey, as we do the day-to-day things that we all overlook as mundane, we all just brush past as that's just expected, that's just normal, that's just how it is. I'm not allowed to praise myself about this. That's just what I'm meant to do. I'm not allowed to be proud about this because that's the role, right? And the more we gloss over everything that we do and how worthy it is and how wonderful it is and what an achievement it is, if we don't connect into those moments on the regular, we will consistently try to set those larger goals to try and access that feel good from the inside. But it's not long lasting because we haven't actually built the muscle to regularly feel like that and to house those emotions when they're there. And so imposter syndrome really asks you to not look at the lack, to not look at what didn't measure exactly in the KPI way your mind would have set for yourself, to not look at everything that didn't turn out exactly as planned, or let's say you've done something and it's not the exact vision you had, to not look at that as failure. It asks you to connect less with the not good enough story and to connect way more into every single time and moment that you are good enough, you are achieving, you are making a difference, you are showing up in a resilient manner, you are confident in, you are making a positive impact on others, on work, for yourself. And so imposter syndrome, and to overcome it at the very heart, asks you to connect more into the everyday moments that you are already living, already breathing, already doing, whether that's in life, whether that's in business, to connect in with all of the good enough already, right? And the worthiness that comes from that, and the self-confidence that comes from that, and the respect within yourself that comes from that, that you can achieve this, and to connect into that on a deep level, an emotional level, an energetic level, and of course a mindset level, to start seeing those. And as you start connecting into that level of emotions and energies, you start building from that. And of course, if you start building from that, everything on the outside flows and it'll naturally mirror. But it starts from within. And we are not combating imposter syndrome, and we're not going to ever get over imposter syndrome if we keep measuring the lack more than what's already present. There are so many women that I work with that come to me, and I can rattle off success after success after success, even in one 24-hour period. The way in which they've woken up, cared for their children, have a beautiful house, have made gorgeous food, created a calm environment. They showed up for clients. They made an impact. They had deep and meaningful conversations in their friendships groups that really supported and helped. They showed up in their clients' lives and made ripple effects that they can't even fathom. And yet when I show them and they reflect on all of these achievements, they gloss over it because, well, I haven't got this, or it feels empty. The only reason it feels empty is because you're glossing over it, because you're not connecting into it. And if you're not connecting into that, you're connecting into something else. And that is the lack. And that is that therefore I must do more. And therefore it can be taken away at any given point in time. If anybody truly connects into every moment in their lives and looks at it from what a beautiful, amazing, successful circumstance that is, that they are showing up in and creating from, and they truly connect in with it, you'll know that nothing can be taken away from you, because the things that you have on the outside merely mirrors your own energy on the inside. So that's why at the very heart of imposter syndrome, it's a personal game. It's a personal inside job. And it asks you to disconnect more from the not good enough and to connect in more with the good enough on a day-by-day basis. And there's simple strategies and there's simple tools in which you can do this from. And I'll share that with you in a moment. But just the one thing I wanted to touch on before I share the tools is this. If you are someone who cannot connect into success on the level where you are currently at, okay, and my audience are by and large business owners, and a lot of us are mothers, and most of us, well, everyone I know, are amazing, phenomenal human beings. If we cannot feel successful, proud, and enough where we are today and everything we have achieved, we will never be able to feel it. There is not a world outside of you that will reflect back at you anything different to what it is that your operating base is today. And so it starts today. It starts in this moment. It starts now. And it starts with you connecting into how worthy, how good enough, and how powerful and successful you already are, and acknowledging that and connecting in with it in the heart space, and not telling yourself that that makes you arrogant, people won't like that. Oh, does this mean I'm narcissistic? All these things we tell ourselves when we want to be proud about the things that we do and the ways that we show up in. It doesn't start there. It starts with you honoring everything you are right now and continuing to do that on a daily basis and building that muscle. And when you start showing up from that heart space and from those emotions and that energy, everything outside will amplify. But the best part is, as it amplifies, as you attract in what you desire, as the results come to fruition, because as within, so without, you will actually get to fucking enjoy it for half a second, and hopefully much, much longer if you do the tools and tips I'm going to tell you about in a second. You'll actually be able to feel good about it, to feel that confidence, to feel that inner power, and you'll be able to enjoy the things that it is that you work so incredibly hard and already achieve. It's just the enjoyment piece and the feel good piece and the confident piece that's lacking. And it's because of where we place our energy. And it starts when we're children and how we were raised. And it is a very much, I'm a mother. It's how I raise my children. I'm conscious about it. I don't get it right all the time. I'd say it's about 50-50. I'm like, oh shit, today wasn't really full of compliments. I was more focusing on the lacks, but that's okay. I'm human. We're all human. Okay. And then I try to just autocorrect wherever I can and really connect them in so that they can feel proud about all the things it is that they're achieving that, we overlook because we say, well, that's just what they're meant to do. But actually, 6 months ago, they weren't able to do it. Today they can because they continue to show up, they continue to learn, and now they can achieve this wonderful thing, and that ought to be celebrated. So for anybody who struggles with imposter syndrome, here's some practices for you to do. Okay, I want you to there's probably about 3 steps in it. Step 1 is writing down what it is that success looks like to you. Like you just actually write down in a really big list, as many as you can, what would it take in your mind currently for success to have occurred? Okay, and once you've gotten that list down, step number 2 is you find the common denominator. There's going to be a common thread amongst all of these, 1 or 2. You find those common denominators and you write them down, okay? Step 3, there's more steps than just 3. Step 3, find the energy you're seeking underneath, the feeling, the emotion. Those things are interchangeable for the purpose of this conversation. Okay, so what is it that you're wanting to feel underneath that? So pride might be one. Okay, accomplished might be one. Whatever it is, find the 2 or 3 energies, feelings, or emotions you seek, and you write them down. And then step 4, at the end of every single day, you sit down and you create what I call an acknowledgement log. And this acknowledgement log, you write down those experiences and those energies or emotions, or however you framed it up, you write them down because that's really what it is that you're wanting to experience, right? From the word success. And the process I've just taken you through just distills down and gets you really clear really quickly on the feeling it is that you're chasing. And you write that down, and at the end of every day, you acknowledge from the smallest to the biggest way in which you experienced that today, in which you showed up from that level of energy, emotion, feeling today. And you acknowledge and acknowledge and acknowledge. Okay? And so every day you do this and you continue to do this. And before you know it, you'll see how every day is a success. Every day you're good enough. Every day you're more than worthy. And every day has those feel-good moments. We just have to put our attention to it and acknowledge it and give it that acknowledgement that it requires and really connect in with it. And as you build that muscle, you'll start taking this through. You'll start naturally showing up from that space When you feel yourself getting off guard, you'll naturally know how to autocorrect because you've got that north point to continue to return to time and time and time again. And you find those moments and those energies, not just in business, not just in life, but from the smallest to the biggest thing. You write that acknowledgement log. You douse yourself in that pride and that gratitude every time you write it down and you connect in with it and you honor yourself. And you will see the most transformational outcomes from it when it comes to imposter syndrome, because we are connecting in with the parts in us that's already confident, unwavering, successful, and good enough. And we are connecting in less with all of the ways in which we've been conditioned to measure it. So I'm so grateful for everyone who's joined me in today's episode, and I can't wait to hear from you in how this podcast episode and the exercises and the tools and the tips has helped you. I can't wait to hear all of the comments in how you go with implementing what you've learned about today. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful week. All my love, S.